always let your conscience be your guide.
Welcome back to the extended walkthrough for the Northstar app. This is the third extended walkthrough video. In the previous video, we took a look at following groups, what purpose the groups serve in the app, and we took a look at their profile pages so that we could get familiar with what those look like and the information that is held there. We left off at the stamps page for the World Wildlife Fund, and in this video we'll take a much closer look at these pieces of information that the groups are stamping, and in the next video we'll take a look at what stamping actually means. But briefly, we saw previously this group to point overlap metric at the top. And in a brief explanation, what this means is, well, we have 2 points in our compass. So we have our menu that will bring us to our compass. And so we'll go to our animal rights page, and you can see that we have 2 points that we want the app to warn us when we're going to support an individual or purchase a product that would violate these points. For the most part, things that we're okay with, like it's okay to kill animals for food, we really don't want the app to take any action when it comes to the items or individuals or businesses that we search for with the app. That's not something that we want the app to warn us about. But if we're about to support something that violates one of these points, we want to know about it. And so that's the second number here. There are 2 points that we've given our disposition to that we want the app to take action on. And then we've followed groups that cover both of these points. So if we take a look at our groups again, we'll first take a look at the World Wildlife Fund, right? So right away, the World Wildlife Fund covers both of these points. If there's information about products that violate the point that it's not okay to kill animals for sport, World Wildlife Fund is looking for information and passing it down to us. Also, if an item or individual or business violates the point of causing intentional harm and suffering to animals, this is another point that the World Wildlife Fund is finding information about and filtering it down to us as the end user. And if we go back to our groups, the Animal Justice Project is giving us information about causing intentional harm and suffering to animals. It's not giving us information about the other, but we already have another group, the World Wildlife Fund, that's passing along information that violates that other point as well. And maybe through this, it becomes a little bit clearer why it's important to follow as many groups as possible. The more groups you have looking for information, the more likely it is that you will get the information that you need at the time when you're about to make a decision. The Animal Justice Project, or any other group for that matter, can't conceivably be on top of all of the information at all times. But you can increase the chances that you'll have that information brought to you at the appropriate time by following more groups. So we're going to take a look at, maybe we'll look at the Animal Justice Project's stamps page. So here's where we're going to really start looking at the information that the groups are sifting through when they're filtering down relevant content to their followers. This page represents pieces of information, what we call data, which I'll explain in a moment, that the Animal Justice Project has viewed and deemed to be not only legitimate information, but information that's relevant to their cause. Both points are critical. You can see that on this page it's sorted by most recent, but we could also sort by point, because depending on the way that a group has calibrated its compass, it may have more than one point that a stamped piece of information is relevant to. So in order to understand this more clearly, let's take a look at an example. This is the most recent stamp that this group has made. And so we see the stamp page that has two basic parts. It has the datum, the piece of information that they viewed and stamped, and then it has the attributing stamp information. This is the time that it was stamped, and these are judgments that the group has passed on that piece of information in the act of stamping it. This will be explained in the next video in much more detail. So what we really want to focus on in this video is the actual piece of information. So by clicking on this piece of information, we follow all the way to the source of the actual datum that the group looked at. Okay, so this is what we call a datum page, and data come in one of three flavors. They're either descriptions, they're either statements about something that happened, or they're linking data, which means that they're linking two or more items together in a relationship. The concept of linking I will explain in the next video as well. Or they are both, where they're making a statement and they're linking or showing a relationship between two items. This datum happens to be both. And so this is the symbol that we've come up with, where you have a piece of information and then the chains in there to show that it's linking as well. So when we look at a datum page, on the top we have the backbone. This is the core of a datum, a piece of information, and it's just a simple statement. In this case, it's saying that this product made by this company is tested on animals. It's a simple statement, and you'll notice that nowhere on this page do we have any points. Nowhere is the author of this datum indicating what point this might be in violation of. And that's on purpose, because that's not the role of the writer. The writer in this case was Alison McCormick. We have the writer symbol here. This is the timestamp. And finally, we have a stamp count here. So you can see that this datum has been stamped by 985 groups. And finally, we have the items that are relevant to this datum. We have this item, which is the product, and we have this item, which is the business. Items can either be products, businesses, or individuals. And they are the mechanism by which we attach pieces of information to the actual items that the end user is going to be looking for. Because at the end of the day, the item is where the end user interfaces with the app. This is what they're searching for when they want to find out if something aligns with their morals. And so there has to be a way to associate all of the information that's uploaded by writers through data and that's stamped by groups. All of this information needs to somehow, there needs to be a mechanism to associate it with the items that the end user is eventually searching for. And that's by creating item profile pages and then attaching that information to those pages. A datum has to include at least one item in it. If not, then the statement that's being made in that datum is useless to Northstar, to the database, because it's not being tagged or attributed to any item. Or the datum can contain multiple items. In the case of a linking datum, it has to contain multiple items in order to demonstrate a relationship between them. In this case, we have two. We have a product, we're stating the product name, and then we're stating the business name. And then, of course, we're making the assertion after. And so we have these two items here, the item profiles, and they're linked in the description down here. So this is the description of the datum, and it'll link and show the author of all of the item profile pages that are relevant to this datum. So let's take a look at an item profile page. We actually saw one in the abridged walkthrough when we searched for this item. The scenario was that we're in the store and we have it in our hand and we want to see if it aligns with our morals. And so let's take a look at it again. And so this is the item profile page. We saw that it didn't align with our morals and we investigated why in the compass and stamp page tab. But right now, let's just look at what makes up an item profile page. It's very simple, actually. We have a picture to show what it looks like. We have the symbol that indicates that it's a product. We have its name. We have a brief description of the product. We have who made it, Alison McCormick, and we have when she made it. Okay. The rest are stats that are either overall stats for this particular item profile page. This is how many writers are using it and how many pieces of information, how many data it's affiliated with. And then we have data stats that are relevant to just us as the end user looking at this item profile page. I'm going to do a later video just on the item profile page because there's more nuance to it than this, and I want to give it a full description. But really, this is it. We need to have an item profile page that serves as a location where we can attach the attributing information about it that we care about. Things that writers have written about it and things that our groups have put their stamp of approval on. So the things that get filtered down to us. We'll take a look at this linking tab at a later time. And we actually already saw this compass and stamp tab. This is where we see the datum or the data, if there are multiple, that have flagged a point or multiple points in the judgment of our group. So we saw in the abridged walkthrough that the reason we can't support this product or we can't buy it in the supermarket is because one group has indicated that this datum, that by virtue of this datum, this item is in violation of this point. So let's just go back to our datum page, okay? And we'll comment on one last thing before we finish this video, and it's the Information and Sources tab. So one of the tabs in the datum page is a place where the author of the datum can give a more detailed description of the point of the datum, and more importantly, lists the sources that, in their point of view as the writer, legitimizes or supports their assertion. This is hugely important. These sources need to be verifiable. The groups that are going to stamp this datum need to be able to take a look at the sources and confirm them for themselves. And this is what makes a good datum. If someone uploads a datum making some claim about some company or some individual and can't support it, well, first of all, there needs to be one source in order for a datum to be uploaded to Northstar at all. And so, but even if their source is, let's say, not of the best quality, it probably means that not many reputable groups are going to venture a stamp for it. The group still has their reputation to think of. And they want to do the best by the people that are following them. And so it serves the writer well to link as many sources as possible to support their assertion as completely as possible, so that when a group comes and sees their datum page, the work is done for them and they're simply verifying it. So this has been a closer look at the data that underlie the information in Northstar. What we're going to take a look at is what a group is actually doing when they're stamping, and we're going to take a look at the concept of linking in the next video.